I also wanted to talk a little bit about practicing the technique in this etude because it gets pretty quick in the last part. We have written here a quarter note equals 160, and that's pretty quick. Here's 160, and if I'm going to start practicing this at 160, it gets a little bit tricky because the meter changes. If you look, the measure 31, which is the third measure of this passage, goes into 6/8. And if I have my metronome at a quarter note equals 160, then I get turned around. So if I start, I can't follow my metronome anymore if I'm doing quarter notes. So I think the best way to practice this is first of all, of course, we have to go very slowly because there are a lot of high notes, there's a key change, and there are some tricky notes. So you need to practice this slowly. I like to practice this at about half tempo so that each of these clicks, which is now at 160, are not the quarter notes anymore, but the eighth notes. So in the first measure, or measure 29, which is our first measure at 160, each one of these clicks is going to be an eighth note. When I get to measure 30, I have a dotted eighth note that's printed, but that's going to be like a dotted quarter note. 1, 1, 2, and 1, 2, and da, 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 da. And then when I get to the 6/8, it'll be the same rhythm, and I'll just keep counting eighth notes, and I won't be disturbed that I'm in 6/8 because I'm still just thinking about eighth notes, and I'm just playing the rhythms according to the eighth notes. So I'm going to play the first couple of measures at this tempo where each click is now an eighth note. Do you see how that works? I just play an eighth note for each click, and then it becomes a lot easier to count it, and then the meter change is not a problem because the rhythm stays very constant. So I practice it at this tempo a lot, a lot, a lot, more than you even think you probably have to. Keep practicing it very slowly until you feel really good about how accurate you can be, and then you can speed it up. And I'm not saying speed it up a lot. Right now I'm at 160. So I might speed it up to 166. And then I'll try it again at this tempo. And it might not feel any faster, or it might, but just try it. And when you get really good at 166 and feel good about that tempo, then you can take it up to 172. And see that. If it feels faster and it's hard, then you make it a little slower. And you keep doing that until you feel very comfortable about playing it. And remember, practicing a technical passage takes a lot of repetition when it's very slow. So if you can just do that and have the patience to do that, you should be able to play this just fine.